The 2.5-ton workhorse, however valiant a job it has done in the past, is not capable of meeting the much more rigorous demands of the shifting, fast-moving battle area of the future. And the Army is programming now for trucks superior to that honored vehicle. But even these will not completely meet the requirement, and the Army is making an intensive study of the kind of wheeled vehicles needed in the atomic age. At the same time, the Army is reducing its logistical burden through standardization of parts and reduction in size of equipment. Here is an example. This radio equipment used by the soldier in Korea will soon be reduced to a radio with helmet receiver and pouch-type transmitter, and eventually, it will be possible to reduce the equipment to the size of a fountain pen. The Army is also reducing its logistical burden by transporting the great amounts of fuel our forces require in flexible pipelines, collapsible bulk fuel tanks, giant tires which can carry fuel inside them, and other devices. But the most substantial alleviation of the problem will come when the Army is able to increase the use of diesel engines, or engines which will operate on a wide range of fuels. The ultimate answer would be a new concept in fuel, a chemical fuel which would free the Army from petroleum. Army scientists are today experimenting with exotic fuels in the constant hope of achieving a breakthrough in this area. As the Army seeks constantly to perfect its tactical concepts to the changing conditions of war, the need for special new equipment is made known. Armed helicopters with which the Army is experimenting today provide one example. Used as reconnaissance vehicles, these machines can lead the way for a task force. By moving quickly into an area, firing into it, taking advantage of the terrain to hide, and drawing the enemy's fire, they can estimate the amount of enemy resistance and quickly call on firepower from the rear. On the future battlefield, of course, firing helicopters are not going to be found, for the helicopter was never designed to carry armament. But the need has clearly been shown for aerial assault vehicles, and with these firing helicopters, techniques are being developed for use with better equipment which will be available later. Aerial assault vehicles of the future are not in the realm of fantasy. Some of the Army's research and development effort is now being devoted to developing such vehicles as these, which will employ tactical concepts that are being perfected with Army aircraft today. Behind the aerial assault vehicles come ships carrying troops and equipment. Once again, the air vehicles which will accomplish these functions in the future will be considerably different from those doing the job today. More efficient and reliable, less vulnerable to enemy fire. But it is the helicopter which has demonstrated not only the feasibility, but the effectiveness of this kind of operation. What you have seen in this report is a representative sampling of some of the weapons and equipment which will provide the Army with the firepower, mobility, communications and surveillance ability, and logistical support, which will enable it to accomplish its mission with maximum effectiveness. Today, our Army does not possess all the material which is needed for the support of its forces as a deterrent or as a counter to Soviet aggression. Taking into account both quality and quantity, the Army has about half its highest priority requirement. The Army is making a dedicated effort to meet these needs. It is an effort of vital national significance. In the troubled and tense world in which we live, the flames of war lie smoldering in all the danger areas where passions and aspirations and antagonisms struggle for expression. And our potential enemy has shown his desire to fan these flames to his own purpose. In the face of this threat, the role of the United States Army in the coming years is first of all to provide as part of a tri-service team a maximum contribution to the deterrence of war. Such power comes only through preparedness. To deter war, the Army must be ready to fight any kind of war with whatever weapons the situation demands. To win war, if war cannot be deterred, the Army must be equipped for victory. The Army stands today alert and responsive to the nation's will, in company with its sister services, the Navy and Marines and the Air Force. It is trained and reorganized to meet the special and compelling demands of war in our day and in the future, as that future can be foreseen in the minds of men. To keep its reorganized form as effective as the spirit which motivates it, the Army's most compelling challenge is to keep its fighting units constantly girded with the modern weapons and equipment which provide superiority. For yesterday's finest weapons become today's second best, and tomorrow are inadequate. This is the demanding truth which brings into clear and urgent focus the Army's never-ceasing effort today to forge a sharper sword and stronger shield.